Today, we are going to break down what weaponized vulnerability really is, how to spot it, the neuroscience behind why people use it, and how to heal yourself from such people, or if you are someone who's using it for your advantage. Now, are you eager to dive into the subject? Type eager in the chat box. So, what is weaponized vulnerability? When we think of vulnerability, we think of openness, authenticity, emotional honesty, the doorway to connection. But vulnerability becomes weaponized when someone uses emotions to gain power, sympathy, access, emotional labor, control, or to avoid responsibility. It is vulnerability with an agenda. It can come as oversharing very early in a connection, manipulative crying, playing the victim to escape consequences, emotional dumping to force closeness, using I'm so hurt to shut down the other person's needs, using trauma to justify hurtful behavior. And because it looks like softness, many people miss the manipulation. Weaponized vulnerability is not about connection, it is about control through emotional influence. Why do people use this kind of a vulnerability? What are the psychological roots to it? So, most people who do this are not evil or intentionally manipulative. They are emotionally immature, dysregulated, or carrying deep unprocessed wounds. So, here are some common psychological roots. First is fear of abandonment. Some people share deeply and intensely because they believe if I show you my pain, you will stay. Their vulnerability becomes a strategy for closeness. Second is learned survival tactics. If someone grew up in a home where only tears got attention, or only pain created safety, or only helplessness brought care, then this vulnerability becomes a tool, not a truth. One of my clients had shared that he had to howl to get his mother's attention as she used to be busy with all work. That became the habit. Third is emotional dysregulation. Some people cannot regulate their emotions, so they unconsciously use others to do it for them. Fourth is victim identity. For some, being the victim is the only identity they knew. If they lose the victim role, they lose control. Avoidance of accountability. By showing their wounds first, they disable confrontation. You cannot hold them accountable without feeling guilty. This is why weaponized vulnerability is so dangerous. It creates invisible emotional contracts that the other person never agreed to. The lady that I had mentioned earlier, each time she was asked about her set of tasks to be completed, she would bring up her home situation, what was happening there, and then I would get caught up in consoling her, giving her advice. Time would just go by, and the work completion responsibility would come on me. Now let's explore what happens in the brain. What does neuroscience tells us? First is the limbic system. Limbic system is your emotional hijacking. When a person feels threatened emotionally, relationally, or socially, the amygdala is activated. If their nervous system has learned that vulnerability brings connection or protection, then their brain chooses it as a survival strategy. So their emotional expression is not consciously manipulating you. It's their nervous system trying to survive. Second is oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It is used as a tool. Sharing emotional stories increases oxytocin, the bonding chemical. In healthy relationships, oxytocin creates intimacy, builds trust, reduces fear. But in weaponized vulnerability, oxytocin is used to force connection. It creates premature intimacy and confuses your boundaries. Your brain starts bonding before your logic starts thinking. Third is mirror neurons. Why you feel responsible in such a relationship? Your brain is wired to empathize. When someone cries or shares something painful, your mirror neurons activate. You feel their emotion, you want to comfort them, you feel guilty for setting boundaries. This is how they unconsciously recruit your emotional labor. The reward loop. Every time they use vulnerability and get attention, care, comfort, resources, or forgiveness, the brain creates a reward loop. The behavior gets reinforced, it becomes a pattern. My client, every time he would howl as a child, his mother would come running and pick him up, soothe him. As an adult, whenever he wanted his way, he would throw an emotional tantrum, and then people around him would be on their toes and be eager to help him. What are some of the signs that someone is using weaponized vulnerability for their advantage? So, here are the key red flags. 1. Oversharing too soon. They reveal deep trauma or secrets early in their relationship to fast track trust and intimacy. Second is vulnerability without change. They cry, apologize, or share pain but never change their behavior. Third is emotional dumping every time. They always have a crisis, always need support, and drain your emotional energy. Fourth is using pain to avoid accountability. If you confront them, they shift into I'm the one hurting, you don't understand my pain, you're being mean to me. The focus moves from the issue to their wounds. Fifth is guilt-based connection. You feel drained, obligated, responsible, guilty for saying no. This is emotional manipulation, not intimacy. So now you must be asking this question, how? How does one heal if you have used vulnerability as a weapon? Healing is possible only if the person is aware and willing to do deep work. Many people unconsciously learn this behavior from trauma. So start with learning emotional regulation. Being able to regulate your own emotions. Take charge of your own emotions is the key. Second, building self-worth through focused activities. Third is relearning healthy connection. Learning to set healthy boundaries and respect boundaries. Fourth is practicing honesty without manipulation. Fifth is taking responsibility for your triggers. Sixth is most important. Get yourself a good mentor, coach, or a therapist. And if this resonated, share it with someone who may need these insights.